My name's Janet Belray. I'm 44 years old. I was first diagnosed with breast cancer. I had just turned 40 and just given birth to my second child. I was diagnosed with stage 3A invasive ductal carcinoma. I had 6 positive lymph nodes, and I started my journey. I think a lot of people must have the experience of, it's so crushing, especially at the beginning, or, with, having a setback, or, that having to retell your story many times can be difficult. I had a great relay system going. It was okay to let a family member or a friend inform other family or friends. That worked for me, because there are times which are really private, and just wanting to, sit there and just, hug your kids, and so I think that's a good strategy sometimes. Letting people help you disseminate the information about yourself is totally acceptable, and I think people really do understand. I feel so lucky, like I have so much love and support in my life. I'm just so grateful. Sometimes I want to talk to everyone individually, but the whole process of going through treatment is time consuming, so it leaves less time sometimes for family and friends. I do have to resort sometimes to sending out mass emails, but I think people do, I've heard from people that they really do understand, and they're happy to hear from me. As a parent, I think our instinct tends to be, okay, let's protect our children. This is too heavy for them. This is, let's pretend that this isn't happening. In fact, studies have showed it's the complete opposite. The more information that you can give to your children, the more real you can be with them, the less fear and anxiety that they have. Because they know you. They're going to understand, hushed tones on the phone. They're going to, even perhaps, jump to a worse conclusion, and perhaps even blame themselves for something that's going on. We've sought out counseling for our kids so that we can really help them through their grieving. Things have changed, definitely, knowing that now my breast cancer is considered terminal. That's moved us into a new stage of being honest with the kids. But kids are really good at balancing opposite ideas. They can understand the reality of the situation. Okay, they know mommy has cancer. They know that the doctors, say that that mommy's going to die. But they can understand that. But they can actually hope for something different, and they can balance those ideas at the same time even better than an adult can. So I've actually learned a lot from my kids, and in that regard, they can process something quite seriously, and then when it becomes too much for them, they'll go off and play, and that's a good thing. Kids are able to do that. So I would definitely advise to be open and honest with your kids. I ended up doing a lot of research myself. That's kind of one of my coping mechanisms. I like to understand my options, my treatments. I do a lot of research. I use the internet a lot, and it worked for me. It really, I think, having just a sense of involvement in my own care was. It has and continues to be hugely important to me. As I say, some people want to just put all their faith in their doctor, and that's good too. For some people, I just haven't ever been like that. But I do have great doctors, and very grateful for their advice. I would say if you're the type of person that likes to be involved, I would say absolutely do all the research you can, understand all your options, really trust your instincts. I think looking back, I would have even been a stronger advocate for myself, and I would have let my voice be heard even more. There were certain times where I went back and forth a little bit with my doctors on research I had found. They give their opinion. At the beginning, there were a few issues that I sort of dropped. I thought, okay, well, I got to trust these guys. I want to develop a good relationship with them. And in hindsight, I wish I hadn't dropped a couple of those issues. But because you don't want to, be labeled like a difficult patient or anything. There's this huge, expectation to, to kind of do what you're told in a sense. If my only risk is pissing off my doctor, you know what, that's kind of small in comparison to just being here for my kids, right? So now I really, really make sure that, I've, got a second, a third opinion, that I've done my own research, that I feel comfortable with what I'm going to do. I mean, there's still a certain amount of not knowing, and, you have to accept that for sure. But I would definitely be an even stronger advocate for myself. Something else that I would change if I had to do it all over again, I would say on an emotional level, I would just take a little bit more time for myself. I think as a mom, I sometimes have a hard time just really carving out time for myself. But I think in the end, kids benefit from a mom taking care of herself. And that was a good lesson for me to learn throughout this. I think in the long run, you can give more if you take care of yourself as well on an emotional, spiritual, physical, whatever level, all the levels. Sometimes I don't know where the strength comes from. For sure, you tap into places in your own self that, there's resources there that you never even knew you had. Certainly in the world of metastatic breast cancer, there have been a lot of disappointments, and I'm sure there will be more. I mean, I have and continue to live with an amazing amount of hope that in huge part comes from my amazing family and friends, and I think as a mother, there's also like an incredible personal drive to just be here for as long as I can for my kids. It's not always easy. It's okay to be upset about what's going on. It really just does plain suck sometimes to be going through this, but to still live with as much hope as possible, and that's really helped me. Studies have shown that having a positive attitude doesn't actually give you a survival benefit for cancer, but it's not something that you still wouldn't want to strive for. I had a beautiful home filled with love before my diagnosis. I just want that to continue and have as much love and happiness in my life now for, my whole family. And so definitely I think just wanting to maintain a certain amount of normalcy in my life, I think somehow that's where the strength to get through each treatment comes from.